Hello and welcome. My name is Baba Yuba, and I'm excited again, as usual, to be your host on this platform today as we talk about what would rather be quite an interesting and also the the elephant in the room or scary topic. We're talking about death today. Today, we will be able to learn about the relationship between the living, the dying, and the dead, and how to effectively manage several stages of transition according to African spirituality. But before we go on today, let's do the veneration of the ancestors. Ìbà Lára, ìbà Jèrò, ìbà Ọ̀rọ̀gún Lélà, ìbà àwọn tí wọ́n jáwé ká tó jáwé, ìbà orí ìbà ọrùn, ìbà ilẹ̀ ọ̀gẹ́rẹ́ afọkọ́yẹrí alákùrẹ́, ìbà afẹ́fẹ́ ìbà iná, ìbà omi tàbú rẹ̀ tàbú mu, tẹ́nìkan ìbà ṣọ̀tá, ìbà àwọn ìṣíwájú, ìbà àwọn tí ń bọ̀ lẹ́yìn, kíbà tiwa ò ṣẹ lónìí o. Àṣẹ. We pour veneration and we also give kudos and credit to our ancestors who paved way for us, who walked the path of this earth before we do. And we ask that the universe in its totality avail us the wisdom to teach one another, and not only that, to understand effectively and put to use whatever it is that we are going to be learning together today. You know how we do it on the platform. All questions are to be retained till when we finish teaching. You will be having opportunity of asking your own questions too. But just keep your questions till later. We say greetings to those who are saying hello to us from home, the usual members of this platform. I really love hearing from you, and I really appreciate the time you separate, at least to get something right. And I hope as you get it right, you are also teaching your children, and not only listening for your own emotion alone or for the sake of identity, but you are listening so that you can practice, because it's going to be ultimately futile if we speak and spend time to teach and no one is practicing it. So today we will talk about we will talk about the relationship between the living, the dying, and also the dead, and how to best manage these situations, these transitional stages of phase in our lives. You see, it may be scary, but you must know that if you are living, then you will die. And because life is in cycle, if you die, then you will live again. And it will go on and on and on and on and on and on like that without the ending coming at all. So if you practice African spirituality, you can as well let go the idea of rapture. You can also let go the idea of a judgment day. You can let go of the idea of what is it called? Heaven or hell, paradise, lake of burning sulfur, house of music, a place of, all those concepts which you must have been fed in the past. Because obìnrin láyé yóò lọ síwájú yóò tún padà sẹ́yìn. Ńgbọ́ bá kọjú sí mi, ó lè kẹ̀yìn sí ọ. Ńgbọ́ bá kẹ̀yìn sí ọ, lè kọjú sí mi. What I just say is the universe is always going around in cycle. It may face you today and back me. It may back me today and face you, but whatever goes around always come around. And exactly the same way, the very solar system, which is the grip of all the source of life, exists plainly on the platform of recycling system. And because of the understanding that what is needed for this physical anatomy to function is energy, we in African spirituality equate what you call spirit in whatever concept to energy, the ability to do things. Energy, however, cannot be created. Energy, however, cannot also be destroyed. Energy can only be used and reused. So the concept of recycling has been an ancient concept that is forcefully and obviously used by nature to ensure that everything and everyone have whatever it is they need to live. So let's take a look at not the ecosystem. Let's take a look at you. You as human being. You are a product of this. Your physical body is a product of the earth, and so if you eat stuff or drink stuff that is coming from the earth, it is the earth you give it back to, either in form of urination or defecation. When that is done, the same very thing that you purge out, having eaten it, is the same thing that is used to produce more things for you to eat. So there is no waste when it comes to energy. In nature, nothing lies fallow, nothing stays stagnant, nothing is idle, and there is no special storage place for everything to stay at rest. Nothing is resting in nature. Everything is speaking, everything is talking, everything is communicating, everything is vibrating, even though you don't vibrate in the same frequency. And the fact that you don't understand what the trees are saying does not mean the trees are dumb or deaf. The fact that you don't understand what water is saying does not mean that water is not a being or a life on its own, possessing intelligence. Those who attended our water mastery class, they will have extensive knowledge about this. By the way, the course is still up for sale. Now, if there is anything on this universe or in this universe that is non-living, then it will make out the universe to be a wasteful manager, because the universe is the source of all things. It will be ultimately useless for you to maybe to be the source of waste. The universe we live in is not only comprising of the planet Earth that you stay. Ibùgbé ayé kan rèé, ṣùgbọ́n ayé pé gbà, ayé pọ̀ ní jàǹtìrẹrẹ. People think here, where they stay, is what we refer to when we talk about the world. No. Do not limit the scope of your knowledge to your own habitation alone. The fishes in the river would think that the water is the only world that exists. And it is because of the limitation of the scope or the horizon of a fish, thinking that the only world existing is water, that brought about an outright death sentence on the fish whenever it steps out of what it has considered as the world. So when a fish steps out of water, the world did not come to an end. It is the world of the fish that came to an end. Do you get the point? So whenever you put yourself under limitation to think that all you know is all there is to know, when you encounter new possibilities, death is imminent. So the planet Earth is not all about the universe. The universe is vast. And so you must also understand that in the limitation of your own understanding or knowledge, do not think that you are the only being that exists in the universe. I'm not teaching you the myth or folklore of saying some people live underground, some people live in the air, the Prince of Persia kind of shenanigans and nonsense. No. What I'm saying, that is there possibility of another kind of sphere that is different from terrestrial beings. Are there such a civilization or society that is called the celestial society? And who are the people that make up the celestial society? Now it will be an aberration for you to now feel that the celestial society comprises of beings or beings that are out of the universe itself. All the celestial society are made up of the abstract existence of the actual existence. All the celestial society are made up of the abstract existence of the actual existence of the terrestrial society. What am I saying? Don't get it confused. In mathematics, we have such equation called abstract equation. In a layman term, you will say imaginary. No, you will say imaginary. There is nothing like imaginary. There is such a thing as abstract. Abstract means something that actually exists but cannot be seen with the physical eye. It is an existence but cannot be seen with the physical eye. It has to be conceived through inspiration or maybe transition from realms to realms. And what I'm trying to now establish to you is there are no beings with wings occupying the celestial civilization. You are here and you are also there. You are here as a physical being. You are there as an energy of a spiritual being. So there is only one type of energy. One type of energy. There is nothing like the energy of human beings or the energy of trees or the energy of water or the energy of fire or the energy of fishes or animals. No, energy is energy, and energy can now begin to manifest in different forms. So it is this energy that is manifesting, remember the word manifesting, in this form that speaks to you, that is also occupying the celestial society, a peep and a vista or a sort of window privilege into the celestial society is who you are, who I am, who that tree is, what the stone is, what the water, the fish, the animals are. Ẹ wá máa gbọ́ páyé pé méjì. Méjì ayé ni mò ń ṣàlàyé yìí. You are just an expression or express manifestation in a nanosecond of what you really are as a celestial being. I will apologize if the teaching today seems kind of complex, but there is no way at all I will put it more like this. Look at it this way. I am still what I am because my celestial expression choose to still express itself through this body, these bodies. The moment my celestial, which is the real me, choose or stop expressing itself, I will not say he or she now, itself through this body, I cease to be a being. It is the presence of your celestial energy that makes you qualify to be addressed as someone who is trying to be human. So they call you human being. Being human is a continuous activity. So you are called human being, someone who is learning to be human. You are not human. You are learning to be human. So they call you human being. One who is learning a physical lifestyle, a way to be physical. You are like, is it mammogram or monogram or whatever they call it? Thank you. It is because of your celestial nature that makes it easy for you to conceive the unconceivable. Even though it looks difficult, it will still fit into your imagination and your thoughts. Hologram, thank you. It is because you are a celestial being that makes it possible for you to be in several places at the same time just by thinking about it. The state of becoming human is a limited state of your celestialhood. Can I say it? The state of becoming human is a limited state or limited taste of your celestialhood. So we will now say you are a deity, you are Orisha, you are a god, you are a spirit, you are energy. So when we address you, it is not this body we address, it is the real you that is unseen to the physical eye. So when we relate with one another now, We in African spirituality do not now relate with one another according to sentiment, according to preferential treatment, according to social status, according to achievement, according to accumulation of wealth, according to privileges, according to whatever it may be that you have acquired in life or gathered together. We now operate with each other as a celestial being, knowing that one spirit or energy is not different from another. So the totalitarian treatment we give to every content of the universe is not because we do not know that energy could manifest itself in different form, but because we know that however form energy is manifesting, all energies are one. So the way you treat a fish, you also treat a dog like that. The way you care for a tree, you also treat a water like that. The way you treat all these things that you, in your limited state of understanding, have categorized as non-living things, you also give the same respect, the same attention to your fellow mankind. So the concept of cruelty, envy, hate, jealousy, anger automatically fizzle out. Why? Because you would rather allow your celestial nature to take over instead of you to learn this limited state, underprivileged state, unenviable state called human being. And so, if an energy express itself from the state of celestialhood into the state of terrestrialhood, this same energy must always and constantly expect to transit from terrestrialhood back into celestialhood, from celestialhood back into terrestrialhood, go forth, go back, flip-flop, what goes around comes around, till the end of what we know as age. So, simplicity of life, the living. What does it mean to be alive or to live or to be living? The same word for acting, the same word for scripting is the same word for living. You learn to become. That's what living is. See, here is where we now draw differences between existing and living. Every living being only become what they are according to the law of adaptivity. Is it adaptability or adaptation? Yeah, let's use adaptation. Now, have you seen some beautiful creatures before that, because of the climatic condition of the place where they are, they exist in a certain form in a certain region and another form in another region? Adaptability, thank you. Adaptability, thank you. See, you have white lion, you have white bear, you have black one, two, another. Region, geographical location brings about adaptability. And so those energy are learning from their environment to play the script that has been given to them as the nature that is predominant or prevalent in their environment dictate. So when we say living, you are learning to become what is predominant in the society that the energy popped up. You are simply learning to behave according to the prevailing or predominant culture, custom, color, climate, where your energy popped up. You are not better than the energy of an animal because you are all the same energy. So as someone who is living, not just existing, you must constantly now learn not to totally detach from your real self. You must be in your default state of energy all of the time. Being in your default state of energy all of the time means that you live as a dead person. The dead has transited back to become fully celestial. In the place of the dead, there is no good, there is no bad, there is no discrimination, there is no racism, there is nothing like dissatisfaction, there is no envy, there is no jealousy. It is an absolute state of silence and quietness, the best form of intelligence. Remember, I told you that, to be wise and to be in tune with the universe, silence is of importance. And then you must have your pulse rate at that of a dead man. As an energy, you cannot be contained as an energy. You cannot be contained. Being human limits you in your absolute state of energy. Because sometimes you realize, some of you have this encounter where you could not control the way you feel. And it is not because you are pretending, but because your energy spiral around. And then you lose control of its compatibility or compartmentalization. You lose control. That age where your energy is not being controlled. Even your body cannot contain it. Your body cannot contain it. So it seems as if you lose control of yourself. You are switching between realms. You are dozing off somewhere. You are giving up somewhere. You are fainting. You are falling. You are doing that. I'm not talking about the emotionality of religion. And nothing says as an African spiritualist that you can't be in trance or see things. You see, those who have allowed their energy stay at the default state of existence, they are those you now go to and say, can you help me see through this situation? So sometimes you call them a diviner. Why? Because it is the celestial state that oversee the terrestrial state. In the state of celestialhood, nothing is hidden and nothing is far-fetched. Ayélujára lápá ibẹ̀. In your terrestrial state, you need to make effort to move from one place to the other, to lift one finger and all that. In the celestial state, there is no distance in that realm. There is no distance. And so you can be anywhere you have desired or decided to be at any time. You can lift whatever you want to lift. You can be whoever you want to be. And you can't do this alone just for yourself. You are also able to see through other people. Either help them to align their thoughts. Now, as a living, that's that. As the dying, it is of utmost importance for you to realize that in the universe where we all are contained, it will become against, or it will become rude of the universe for you to exit a terrestrial place into the celestial without your own without your own consent or awareness. Without your own awareness. So the dying knows that they are dying. You may not know. So you say, oh, just this yesterday, he ate this, he ate that, he drank this, we were together and all that. The fact that they don't discuss it with you does not mean that it is not apparent or obvious to them. But only a few prepare for the obvious. A lot of people wish it away, pray it away, rebuke it away, reject it away, and all that, but they still die. They still die. Excuse me, everybody. Hold on. Apologies for that. When one is about to exit a realm into another realm, it is like moving from one level of trance to another. Let me tell you, either you like it or not, either you want to accept it or you want to disclaim it. If you are the type that goes in trance, have revelation, there are some signals you have when you're about to move from one realm to the other in your body. The same goes with death. But the thing about death is that people do not understand how beautiful death is. Now, the teaching I'm giving to you about death today is not to approve of suicide. A lot of people are depressed and all that. No, this is not about approval of suicide. This is about living life the way it should be lived. Only when you know that if you go, you will come back, then you will realize that there is nothing to fear where you are going to. However, reaching out for suicide just because you know you will come again is like being employed in an organization that have hierarchy and operation system. And then you chose or decided to leave your own duty undone. It will not only affect you, it will affect every single one in that line of operation. And the obvious will happen to you. Query, sacking, reduction of salary, outright unemployment, and all that, which are the things you are coming back to take in the new episode of life. So whatever it is you're going through, suicide is never a way. However, there's such a thing that gives you awareness when you are done with your own duty in this episode of life, which every one of us must take account and constantly live in a sensitive realm of. And death don't determine its coming through age. There are people who are way younger who knew that they have nothing else to do. They are done. Unapologetically, they are done. And there are people who are still, very old, but they know that they are not done yet. A lot of you are not even, you have not started. Because most people discover what they should do or who they are at the later days of their life. It is for your own benefit to complete that race as much as you can before you're recycled or before you get transited. Because there's such a thing that when you come again, you may have to settle the discourse of the last episode before you begin the new one. So you go for divination of Akosigaye, and then maybe it pop up and say, this is what you are supposed to be doing. Yet, for the past 40 years of your life, you've been doing something else. Sometimes some people just feel like, I think it's too late. They begin to micromanage their error and mistake. Or we say, until you get to social age, such an occurrence that you expect may not happen in your life. And some people will wonder why. It is not an evil utterance or curse. It is because you have outstanding to settle. So you must live your life constantly with that sensitivity and checking if it is time. Constantly getting ready for recycling and reuse. You are an energy, a reusable energy. So sometimes when I talk, I say, in case I'm no more here, this is what should be done. This is how it should be done. So people will come to me and say, Baba, why are you talking like that? I say, will I live forever? I won't. So I make preparation daily for my exit. Without apology, without fear. Now that's how to live. Even though you don't have the notification yet that it's time to go. Because your human experience is gradually taking you back to the completeness or the wholeness of your celestial activity. The day you leave the celestial realm to experience the terrestrial realm, you start walking or moving towards the celestial realm again. So the numbers of years that is required for you may be different from the numbers of years required of me. And what you should do to attain the celestial state, complete celestial state again, may be different from what I should do. Are you doing yours? I think I'm doing mine. So they will say, Igi to die, penigbo, that a good tree does not last in the forest. It's not a bad thing. Understand what they say. They are saying that people who complete their task on time have no need to stay idle or be staying wasted in the forest. The quicker you finish this episode of life doing what you have to do, you return. But mankind have developed misery and calamity for themselves in the way they think. You have decided to judge the beauty of life by the events, the structures, the money in your account, the sex you are having, the fame you got, the attention you are getting. I want to ask you today, in the absence of all these things that you cherish, all of these physical things that you cherish, would you still be afraid to die if all these things are no more there? That's why you see that poor people they are not afraid of death, because they have nothing to lose. People who have nothing to lose are ready to lose everything. But the moment you begin to attach your value to physical things, acquire things, properties, have money, have fame, popularity, favor, position, social status, it becomes difficult for you more to now reconcile with the idea of death, because you have decided to condescend your celestial value to the terrestrial substances. The moment that is the way you live, you as a living are dying slowly, dying gradually, dying slowly. Why? Because you have lost focus of what life should be or what life means. Now, talking about death and how we should treat it, it is totally a waste of time, activity, life, resources for you to attach any form of emotion to the dead. Sometimes people will reach out to me and say, can I help them talk to their dead relatives and all that? I'm like, help you to talk to a dead relatives when there are living people, living human beings that are looking for who to talk to them. One advice is to allow the dead to die in peace. Allow the dead to just go, knowing that they are not extinguished. They only were reused. And if you drink a bottle of water and you drop it and you start mourning it, and someone else went there, pick up the bottle, use it to recycle another bottle, move it to another continent, and you are still mourning that bottle of yours, who is the greatest fool on earth? Who is the greatest fool on earth? I'm just using that as an example. You drank a bottle of water and then you start mourning it. Oh, how can this bottle break? How can this bottle bend and all that? And then you went to bury it. Let's say the burial. You went to bury it in a recycle bin, and somebody picked it up, recycled it, turn it into something else, maybe a nylon this time, maybe a rubber, maybe an stick, maybe something else, But you are still there in your house, mourning the bottled water. Who is the greatest fool on earth? You are a fool. However, there are something called rite of passages. Rite of passages to allow this thing. Those rite of passages are the recycling system and processes required of a person to transition safely. There are rite of passage we do after 15 days. There are rite of passages we do after 40 days. And I think the rite of passage to do on the day the person died, that's all. Meanwhile, you Africans focus on how to hire one mega star who is going to play a band for you, waste money, you buy food and all that. And none of these things that you do have any positive effect on the one who died. Nothing. You have not helped the person pass through those stages and phases of life from the terrestrial back into the celestial successfully. Number one, I want you to know that when a person dies here in African spirituality, we know too well not to wear their clothes. We know too well not to wear their clothing. As a matter of fact, the only set of people who are privy to use the clothing of the dead, they are the second generation of the one who dies. Let's say this is a grandmother. The clothing of the grandmother is given to the granddaughter. And the granddaughter cannot put on any part of the clothing until after a year that the grandmother has died. You know why? Because while the person was alive, every single part of their energy also is shared with their properties. It's like those clothing, those things, those material they are very fond of. And the way they behave in the celestial realm, those clothings have a way to behave that way. And if an energy the energy that is celestial begin to mix with another energy that is terrestrial, there may be some kind of slipping or sipping in of uncomfortable information. So somebody will say, I'm always dreaming of my mother, I'm always dreaming of this, I'm always dreaming of my ex-lover who died, this one is appearing to me, and all of those things. See, the truth is, you have no business with the dead. And it is not a good occurrence when these people who have died in your life keep coming back to you. There are few cases of the reason why they should do that. When you share their property, I wouldn't blame a woman who's married to a man that died and choose to be clinging on to. Now, while you are clinging on to that person's clothing, materials, and all that, also be ready to get the visitation of their celestial apparition. So you must be careful. You know why you must be careful? You are not allowing them to transit successfully. And I'm sure it's going to be very foolish of you to now be saving your own mother's clothes for your own child. You are not that poor now. Are you that poor? You are not that poor. You have refused for this energy to transit effectively and smoothly, and so you will bear the consequences of delay. So if you are one of the people out there whom the only thing you are looking for is how to inherit your father, how to inherit their clothing and all that, calm down. They are also investing their energies in those things they use. When you refuse to allow the process of life, the process of recycling to take place, you will have the universe to face. The same light, when your person dies, the clothing on them when they died should be burnt immediately. When your person dies, I must have told you before, apart from their nails and their hair, because when the person dies, their nails can still keep growing, their hair can still keep growing. Those ones carries life forever. When those who want to manipulate it sees it, when they cut the nails or the hair, or maybe some part of their flesh, they can manipulate it in such a way that this energy now begin to behave in a very negative way. So those are the things that you call demons. There are no demons. Mankind created or manipulate good energy to begin to react in a negative way. There are people with that knowledge. The clothing they put on when they died also, either through accident or whatever, you need to get it burnt. Because that clothing actually, that clothing, is either you bury them with the clothing or you burn the clothing. But it's always good to bury the dead with one simple material and let them go. I hear some of you will go and wear, many of you go and wear suit, wedding gown for your dead. I don't know, maybe when you were being purged into the planet, you came with one suit. You came naked. You should go naked. You need to be stripped naked when you die. Yet we should plant you naked. You don't deserve to be clothed when you die. The clothing will also affect greatly your transition. A lot of things we got it wrong. So most times when people invite me for burial and if I try to manage to go, I just can't stay more than 20 minutes because I see nonsense in one shape. You further complicate life for the person who died. This energy is being messed up. Noise everywhere, dancing, and it is wrong. You don't go on and be burying the dead in a casket. No need for caskets. Allow this energy to flow the way it is. Usually we will cremate you. We will cremate you and perform the rite of all the elements because we don't know which one you are coming through later. We perform the rite of water, the rite of earth, the rite of fire, and the rite of air. Isn't that what happened when we are cremating you? We use fire, the element, to burn you. When we do that, what happens? Every water in your body gets, extracted, go to the earth. If at the end of the day you turn to ashes, we mix you with the earth, the product of the earth, either the sea or whatever. And while we are spraying you the air is also taking its own part. So we do not know which of these elements you are coming through. So we must scatter you in all of the 4 elements in the universe. But mostly people just get themselves transitioned through 2 elements alone. They get them buried and the earth extract their water. It is not enough option to give to the dead or to the celestial on the process of their reincarnation. A lot of us have buried our parents wrongly. We have buried our loved one wrongly. Is there something we can do about that to graciously and smoothly send them? There is. If you still have their clothing, still have their material, those are the things that we use to now represent them and pass them through the ordeals of afterlife successfully. I am taking you back into the centuries without dates. I'm taking you back into the world without numbers. And I'm teaching you how it should be done. That's the reason why in African spirituality, we don't bury our kings. It's these days that the king will now tell you that he's a Muslim or Christian. The concept of evaporation or ascending into the sky came from cremation. Came from cremation. So as you burn, you exit as a gas also. So your clothing in the body, on the body of the dead when they died, their other clothing that they are fond of should not be worn until after a year. They call something Odurori. In those days, we create shrine. It is only shrine we create for our ancestors. We don't create a burial site for them. And on the shrine where you assess the energy of the ancestors, you don't bury them in the shrine. There's no burial. All you do is carve an image that looks like them. And the reason why you carve an image that looks like them and keep it in your house is so you can tell their children, their grandchildren, their great-great-great-grandchildren that this is what your ancestors look like and this is what they did when they were around. But then pictures, photography took over that, and then we adapted effectively. So there are such a rite that we perform when our persons die. And it does not matter if they are old or young. There is a rite that you perform when you belong to a society and you die. They remove you from that society. There is a family rite you perform to remove you from that family. Even if you are going to come as a clean energy. It should still be done till today. You have clique of friends, maybe 5, one of you die. There are rites to perform to remove the energy of that one from your midst. There are rites to perform if a spouse die. There are rites to perform on the spouse, the one that is living, even in the home that they. So people have given experiences of maybe they go to bury their parents, something, and the house got scattered. So there is a need to remove their energy. Now, it is not the person, it is the energy that is reacting. And if there's any time to guard a person's body, it is when they die. They can guide themselves while they are alive, but the moment they die, you need to be the one who guard them because they can be trapped. Their energies can be trapped to be a messenger or a slave forever in the hand of those who have the knowledge of how to manipulate energies. How to manipulate energies. So you have experiences of maybe a house is being haunted. You have experience. People have bought houses before, and maybe in the night they start hearing voices from the house. People have said it before that it is. There are things we need to now remove a sponge from such environment. They are not demons. There is nothing like agent of the devil or something that fell fallen angels. No. These are energies that existed both as a celestial being, experience the terrestrial world, but are not able to fully reconcile to their celestial state. So we help to aid them to transition. It is not what everybody can do. If it is something that anybody can do, and that's why I always warn people, it is very important for you to now know the kind of incense that you burn, because 98% of incense that you burn are used to concentrate or to energize the atmosphere for the congress of energies. Congress of energies. So at the time you are accumulating congress of energies, you would not know which one is negative, which one is good, which one is good. Most times, you must be careful. You can't just go and take incense from an Indian man or a European man or a Hausa man and begin to burn it. You will not know the intent of that incense. So what you feel, you say your head feels double, you have goosebumps and all of those things all over you and all that. What is causing all those things? Should spirituality put you in a state of you now messing up? No. It is now not only you again. You are more than what you are. A lot of people are burnt incense and then they run mad at the end of it. A lot of people. So we must be careful. We must be very, very careful. There are those that are called tomb raider. Tomb raider. Tomb raiding of a tomb or sepulchre or burial site is not a new thing. It has been from ancient times. And so because of the tomb raiding activity, there are some spells that are casted on the burial site of the dead. These spells are put there intentionally to witch hunt whoever attack. So the tomb raiding did not start as a way of looting the treasury. Of course, that's the reason why they bury people with their properties in those days. Take your energy and go. All of you go. There is no need for confusion. When you are burying people, you bury them with their necklace, with their belongings, with their treasures, with whatever it is that they own, that they have touched, that belongs to them. You bury them with it. These days, their energies are scattered abroad. All those things, their DNAs are all over it. We bury them with it. So when the tomb raiders started coming, they were coming to take flesh, human part of the dead, because it is used to consecrate energy and manipulate the atmosphere. Then some of them started saying, no, these are gold and all that. And they started stealing gold. It was when that started happening in Africa that people now started putting spell on the tombs of all their dead bodies. That was not so before. It didn't start like that until people started burying people. If it were the days when they were burning them and cremating them, there's no issue. You burn people, not only them, you burn them with their properties. Their episode is gone. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Certain some countries don't allow cremation. That's the best way to send people forth. What if you have buried your dead before? Can you still help them? Yes, you can. How that can be done, maybe we'll talk about it some other time. There are ways and methods, because when you do it wrongly, you can provoke a node in the universe and everything will go wrong. Everything will go wrong. So, what you call burial ceremony, where you do 40 days, you do 41 days, you do 15 days, you do. You want to turn the back of your dead. After 20, 30 years, you are still, every year you now be doing memorial service. You are mad. It's like you have enough money to waste. That have no consequential effect on the dead. As a matter of fact, throwing a party when you are burying your dead is even an insult. My question is, what is making you happy? If you truly miss them, can put up a memorial for them. You can start a foundation in their name. There are wonderful, beautiful things you can do in their memories that is way more profitable and better than, whereas the most important thing to do for the dead is to send them off properly. To send them off properly. Back to where they came from. Just like there are rites to do for the newborn, so are there rites to do for the dead. We do right to welcome you into this atmosphere. We must do right to send you out of this stirring. And it is my wish that we will make use of this, let me say, incomplete information and make it complete in our life. You can now start asking your questions. I know it's a bad news for a lot of people who are into mug business and all. And I know some of you are already taking credit and loans to come and oppress your family members at home because you want to come and bury your dead. I'm not going to lie to you, you are wasting money and you are doing everything wrong and you are not helping the dead. You are not helping the dead. You can ask your questions now. A few minutes and then we wrap up the program for today. What are your questions, please? All right. So in the absence of questions, can we wrap it up? Can we wrap the teaching up for today? Okay. Somebody is asking that, is it proper to wish the dead rest in peace in African spirituality? There is no rest. I mentioned there's nothing like, you know, not resting. There's no rest. There is no rest. What's the use of reincarnation when you have to rest somewhere? What there is reincarnation, not rest. Resting where? Which peace? No. All we have to say is just a simple word. May those who depart return again. That's all. May those who depart return. Because we are what we were, and we will be what we are going to be. We are the ancestors. Ancestors are us. The ancestors live within us. We once were here, we are here now, we will still be here later. So there is no rest in peace. What about remembrance of the dead in the form of almsgiving, distributing food items? What about selling property of a dead parent? Does it allow crossover of energy? Now remember what I said is the things, they are belongings that they are fond of. They are belongings that they are fond of. Their clothing and all. That's what I said. Someone is asking, how can we stop the cycle of reincarnation? By stopping the sun from shining every day. You can start by stopping the sun from shining. Tomorrow, tell the sun to stop shining, or tell it that don't shine again. Once you can successfully stop the sun from shining, you can stop the cycle of reincarnation. If you stop the cycle of reincarnation, ẹ máa gbọ́ béèrè tó ń béèrè. Àbí kí ló ń ṣe ní igan? You have no power. Your jurisdiction does not extend to that place. My brother, thank you. You can't stop the cycle of reincarnation. Is it a good thing to try communicate with the dead? It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. What are you going to talk to the dead for? For what? Is it not what I teach you every day here? That it is not Ogun that we worship. It is not Oya that we worship. It is not Oshun that we worship. We learned what they learned. We want to know what they knew. By searching, by researching, by history, by divination system. So that we can do better than them. And when we do what they are doing or better, we only give credit to who credit is due. They are gone. Ogun did not turn to iron. Oshun did not turn to water. Oduduwa did not disappear. Orominyo did not turn to pole. I don't know who are the people feeding all this nonsense. We only learn what they learn. We want to do better than them, but we need the basis of their research. And so when we improve on what they have done, we give them kudos and credit. We give them kudos and credit. Is there a special way of greeting someone who has just lost a family member? I'm sorry for your loss, that's all. Yoruba people will say, Aku ara feraku. Aku ara feraku. But simple English is, I'm sorry for your loss, that's all. And it would be better if you talk about the good deeds of the person who died than for you to be crying and shouting. What will your crying and shouting? You are even complicating matters. In African spirituality, are brand new life sources created or they are all recycled? There is no new life. There is no brand new life. Everything is recycled. Everything is recycled. Somebody say, may those who depart return again in glory. Leave glory. May those who depart return. Autant, you would have their glory, hallelujah, amen. What does it take to send forth our dead? That's the job of your spiritualist to do. Because some things are because of how delicate and complicated it may be. It's rather better for you to have your spiritualist insight, to utter the right words, do the right thing. Because if we say, okay, do this one for yourself, so more people don't die. If you don't transit the energy with care, and this thing begin to contaminate, only for akufa, kawamaru akufa. Have I answered this? What about remembrance of death in the form of almsgiving and distributing of food items? You want to do charity in memory of your dead? Why not do it? But when they were alive, did you give them the kind of charity you want to do to others? Or you just want to... It is better you feed the living than to cook on behalf of the dead. It is better you feed the living. I'm alive now. Take care of me. I'm alive right now. take care of me. When you people now hear that I die, and you now begin to press memorial, doing graphics design, spreading everything, maybe that's the time you now come to my YouTube channel and be watching and saying loving memory, or you now be saying, yeah, we want to do something or do a fresh party come. I won't say more than that. If you don't get it, forget about it. Can you recognize the member of your family when reincarnated? Yes, Akosajaye is able to give us this accurate rating. If one is an incarnate of someone. Can someone energy reincarnate and come back in two person? No. One energy, one casing per time. Should one keep the dead in the mortuary? It is wrong to put the dead in the mortuary. I'm not saying the facility or the, is not okay. But for me, why are you keeping the dead in the mortuary? Why are you keeping the dead in the mortuary? Why? I still don't get it. Why? Why embalm people, put them in mortuary? Why? Someone is dead, bury them, let them go. As a matter of fact, the day they die, you bury them that day. Are they some kind of specimen or trophy? What are you trying to prove? So you now put them in a casket, and you now tell people to come and be rounding them and say you are doing wakekeeping. She won't be in shape. Can you just stop disgracing and display people's body as if they are one object of amusement? What can be done when the spirit of a dead grandparent keeps coming to a particular grandchild in a dream for about 10 years? That's to show you that they are not properly sent off. Or the universe is passing a message across regarding what the person needs to do as an incarnate. As an incarnate. As an incarnate. Does an energy remain around the family before moving to the next body? The energy hovers around looking for a member of a family to reincarnate through. So at that moment of zygote, within the family, either they are home or abroad, energy behave that way. Energy behave in such a way that it readily goes back to where it is used to. It is used to. Where it is used to. I have one more question that bothers me really. Is there life after death? You may need to ask your pastor or your imam that one. They will have an accurate answer for you. I don't know about life after death. Ask your pastor or your imam. They are the one who specialize in life after death. They will give you the perfect answer. Can you tell us about the wandering spirit? All right, so if you have been listening to me, I must have told you about how humankind with nature can trap people's energy, making use of any part of their body, especially their clothing. That should solve this particular question you're asking. All right, so I will assume that's all about it, and we'll really appreciate you joining us on this platform to learn this. Then you are free to also share with your family and friends, and let them have a little understanding. Although I understand that today's teaching is quite complex in a way, but if you really are calm, you will read between the lines and get the understanding of it. But this will not be the last of this particular topic. We will still come back to it in the future and talk more on it and simplify it further for ourselves also. Thank you very much for being part of today's teaching, and I really appreciate your coming. Do have a wonderful, 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 wonderful time now. Èrè lójú owó rí o, kó dùn yín ríre o. Oṣù tuntun tá a wá fẹ́ gbẹ́nu lé níbi ọjọ́ kan méjì sígbà yìí, kó sàn wá sówó, kó sàn wá sọ́mọ. We're making the right divination for this week, for this month, and know the way to go. We'll be sharing the outcome of the divination on our African Spirituality Hub on Telegram. So please be attentive, and when we get the signal, we'll be able to relay the message. The most important is not to hear the message, but to also do the needful. Thank you, and do have a wonderful time. Bye for now.